Ahí todavía no se ha puesto en rojo. Ya.
Hi, welcome to Mochi Station. Today we're going to talk about the Mexican Revolution.
But first thing, we will talking about second conditional, wish and hope. First, we use second conditional when we're talking about imaginary situations. We use wish with things that we would like to be different, and hope when we're talking about something that is very, very possible to happen.
Well, let's start. Have you ever thought about what would you do if you could change anything from the revolution? Well, that's our topic for today. Could someone give me an opinion about it?
Yes. If I could change something, I would prevent the government from using its power to keep people at its mercy and harming citizens. I will change all the violence and implement agreements and dialogue to establish a balance between both sides.
Oh, that sounds great. In my opinion, if I could change something about the revolution, I will change the punishment for the president who stole. I will not let them escape like Porfirio Diaz. I will put them in jail and make them work for the farmers.
Well, if I could change anything from the revolution, I would start with the conflict. If I had been born in those days, I would have been the president to avoid all the social problems and turn into a war.
Wait, why would you be the president instead of anyone else?
Well, because if I had been the president, I would have established a transitional government with representatives from all major factions, guaranteeing proportional representation, and this government would draft a new constitution that would involve democratic principles, protect human rights, and establish a multi-party system. But I'm just saying.
I see, yeah. We both wanted good things for our country.
Yeah, but in my mind, I wish I could have been there to help all the people involved in these problems. Yeah, I know it could be so difficult to do, but I could try.
Yeah, me too. Could we have skipped all the death and sadness that occur when the conflict starts?
Mm, I'm not sure of that.
I guess we couldn't have avoided them at all, but we could have reduced them. I think that everything could have been better with Pancho Villa as president. After removing Madero from the presidency, putting someone with the initiative and the courage to fulfill what Madero promised and solve the problems of inequality during the Porfiriato.
Oh, I agree with you. We will have helped people, but some issues might keep there, even if we could change the past.
I see. If our wishes could be real, they would have improved everyone's life.
Yeah, I hope in the future the government will be more fair with others.
So do I. I really hope to live like that.
Speaking of change history, I wonder what would have happened if Porfirio Diaz hadn't broke his promise and decided not to seek re-election.
That's an interesting point, Emma. If he had kept his promise, it might have prevented some of tension that eventually led to the Mexican Revolution. I totally agree with you.
Well, that's really true, and his continued rule was a major source of dissatisfaction among many Mexicans.
Yeah, if Porfirio Diaz had stepped down as promised, it could have opened up the opportunity for a more peaceful transition of power.
Perhaps we would have seen a different political landscape with more diverse leadership and possibility fewer reasons for armed conflict.
It's fascinating to think about how one decision by leader can shape an entire nation's history. Maybe the revolution wouldn't have been as intense, and the suffering could have been lessened.
But then again, historical events are often shaped by multiple factors, so it's hard to predict exactly how things will have turned out.
Yeah, that's true. Even if Porfirio Diaz had stepped aside peacefully, other socioeconomic and political issues might still have caused some level of turmoil.
Regardless, it's a thought-provoking scenario to consider. You know, it reminds us of the importance of leadership decisions in shaping a country's destiny.
Indeed, and it highlights the need for leaders to consider the consequences of their actions on their nature future.
Yeah, we'll say it, everyone. It always valued to reflect on history and how it might have unfolded differently if certain choice had been made.
In conclusion, the second conditional, wishes and hopes, are a linguistical and grammatical constructs that play important roles in expressing hypothetical or unreal situations and expressing desires for different outcomes. The second conditional is a grammatical structure used to talk about hypothetical or unreal situations in present or future. It typically follows an if clause and main clause, and it helps us convey what might happen if a certain condition were met.
Furthermore, the second conditional helps us discuss hypothetical situations, while wishes and hopes allows us to express our desires and aspirations. Those three concepts are important tools in language that enable us to communicate complex ideas about the present, future, and all the tenses and our desires for different outcomes.
Well, thank you all for joining us today on this thought provoking journey through history and imagination. It's been a pleasure discussing the Mexican Revolution and the what ifs that come with it.
Yeah, it's been an enlightening conversation, and it reminds us that history is not just a set of facts, but a tapestry of choices, consequences, and possibilities.
Absolutely, and it's up to us to learn from history, strive for a better future, and work towards a fair and just society.
Um, as we wrap up this podcast, let's keep in mind the power of our collective hopes and dreams for a brighter future.
Let's also remember that even though we can change the past, we can shape the present and future through our actions and decisions.
Well said, everyone. Thank you, our dear listeners, for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the discussion and that it sparked your own thoughts and reflections. Remember, the past might be set in stone, but the future is a canvas waiting to be painted.
Until the next time, take care and keep dreaming for a better world. Goodbye!